So, welcome to episode 9, literally pouring my morning coffee as we speak. Hopefully it's not too windy for you guys. If it's too windy, then I can change locations. But today I'm super excited to invite on Emmy from Dub Kitty. Hey girl. Because she is just such a colorful character. So we actually got introduced through Ari from episode 2. He's like a super connector, so he's actually been sending me some pretty amazing Passion Pilgrims, and it's really cool because there's this really cool online community starting to cultivate where we're like supporting each other and people are really using their voice and really being authentic to themselves, which is like something that I totally love. I love real people that just aren't worried about being themselves. I mean, we kind of all go through this thing where we're like worried to be ourselves or whatever, but at one time or another. But I think the trend that I'm noticing is just these people and these colorful characters that care, and they're all kind of coming to the forefront. So today, oh, hey buddy, today I'm going to invite on Emmy. And Emmy is American living in Australia. What I love about her actually is just how much we both love glitter. We've been like sending each other so many voice notes on the back end, and she just has this way of like singing into the phone, and yeah, we've just been kind of going back and forth on our like madness ideas, back and forth, and she's a super creative. And I ordered these really awesome glasses from her because she has these blue light glasses as her side gig. So her main gig is I'll let her tell you a little bit more about it, but her main gig is like a social media, online marketing, and et cetera, and then her side gig is these bedazzled sunglasses that she used to sell at festivals when festivals were a thing. Hey buddy. And yeah, so because they were super bedazzled, I had to order them. And also for me, I feel like I have a little bit of a similar thing. I do some healing work, and then on the side, well, actually, it's more my main thing, but anyway, is this mala beads. So it's really cool to have a multi-dimensional business. Hey, girl! So just press click to join, and then we can start chilling together. So I love the way that we vibe on the fact that you don't have to choose, and that even though they say pick one thing and be really, really good at it, it's like, actually, I want to. So I wanted to bring her on because she's really intentional with the way she walks through life. And I believe her to be a passion pilgrim because she is really deeply committed to creation, connecting with people, and exploring the world. So I'm just going to invite her on. Just waiting. Hi.
Yay.
Real life.
It's so weird having someone like talking about me and I'm sitting there and I'm like, who? What?
Yeah, totally.
Yay.
Yay. So nice to see you and your sparkles. Let me just move this a little bit so I can.
So good to see you too. Feels like we're in the same room.
I know, it's so nice. How's your day?
Yeah, day's been good. Just,
Yeah.
Got a lot planned for the day. So that's super exciting. I'm excited for this to just like really start things off and get my brain moving.
Yeah, totally. I was really excited about actually like how much intent this, because we connected like almost a month ago. I love like how much you care.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, like, I'm like, yeah, just send me like a chill bio. Like, that good bio. So I was like, well, I for all of this now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think that happens so naturally in the beginning of business when you have to think so hard about like, okay, like who am I? What do I do? And how do I want to get there? And so, you know, sometimes we can overstress like what to say, but other times it's really good to be intentional.
yeah, totally. I love that. I love that interesting little like story that we're going into today. because what you're really keen on sharing is like the background and what one goes through running a business
Yeah.
and starting a business. And for me, I love like the story for all of that. Sometimes we'll talk about like mental health and something like that, but you're actually talking about something that we're hit in the face with every single day on social media. And so
Yeah.
for me, I've been a coach for, is there back to you a little bit?
Sorry. It's a
Is there
little
like
bit it's a little
strange?
bit cracky, but I can hear
I
most
wonder
of
if
what you're
it's
saying.
me. I don't know. Hopefully it's
Keep
okay.
going.
Anyway,
I'm pretty good at digesting like half the info and then just intuitively knowing what you're saying.
welcome to my adventure to Bahasa, Indonesia.
Been there, been there.
Oh my
Anyway,
God. Yeah, so basically I just love that you're gonna like give us a behind the scenes of like all of the stuff that is in our face all the time, because the one thing about social media that kind of pisses me off, and it's annoying, but it's also the nature of the beast, like it's only 0.0000 truth, you know, for all these people that are offering these really things in their own ways. There's also a whole backstory to that, and it's
yeah,
really easy to sit on this side of the screen and be like, they got figured out. Like as a just starting off coach or a just starting off entrepreneur or anything, like, oh shit, look at her photos, or look at the way how confident he is, or all these things. Like, yeah, but there's still a, you know, so,
absolutely. And I think that is like one of the most important things for us to pinpoint these days, and you know, make sure that our humanness is showing up online, because we've created this, you know, the like competition and separation based on our perceptions of other people's lives. You know, if we're only posting the beautiful, the good, it's so easy for us to, you know, see someone else's life and go inside and start ridiculing ourselves for not having or being the way this person is representing themselves online. But really, it's like the power in the human experience is sharing that humanness. It's being transparent and being authentic, and it's just so helpful for all of us, like not only in the mental health space, but just as normal human beings going throughout our life, to like open up and share what's going on, because it's, you never know what someone is going through. And if you can share and be transparent, it really invites people into, you know, not only process maybe what's going on with them, but just to have that relatability with another person is like, makes a world of difference.
yeah.
So yeah, like you said, it's, you know, it's so easy for us, especially as even just regular users of the platform, to get stuck in this like sort of this spiral of self-doubt and you know, negative self-talk. And really, it's like we always have to remember that we're only getting that tiny little slice, and we're all going through stuff. So I just love like the way that you open up these conversations on your platform, because honestly, like, this is, I think, something that we really need moving forward to help everyone. Like, especially last year, what we were going through, you know, we've had to sort of replace our one-on-one interactions and find connections on other places. But you know, with all of the difficulty that we're going through in this time, it's, we have to open up in order to, you know, like pull each other, like for us to have momentum to carry out of this, you know, and like really thrive. So 100%.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what you said about relatability, because you know, for me, like I have definitely a love-hate relationship with social media, like big
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
especially like somebody that's super sensitive and like feels the vibrations of like the shit, you know. And I find that when I'm around screens too much, I just start getting depressed, and like
Yeah.
there's this separation from the body on earth, you know. You're like
Mm-hmm.
up in the the ether of like the airy space,
Yeah.
the internet land. Yeah, it's something that I'd be lying if I said like I've got that dialed, you know, like that
Yeah.
tip. And also, so because when you talk about these things and you talk about being open, what came up for me was, well, where does somebody start? Like, how concept and then ground it down and be like, well, give me some of that, you know? And so
Yeah.
for you, how does that show up in your life? Because something that I go with a lot is like, how do I show people the real me? Like, I know what goes on like behind the scenes, and I'm, you know, I show up and I, you know, talk the way I talk, which is really no other way. But people don't know like everything, you know. How do you have boundaries and share and like it's just very overwhelming. So how do
Yeah.
you that?
Yeah, great question. And it's definitely a journey, and everyone's definition of what that looks like is unique to them. I did want to touch on your point with, maintaining some boundaries with screens and electronics, like even as an Instagram specialist and a social media strategist, same thing, boundaries with electronics, especially social media. Huge advocate for that, because not only because of the traps that are laid out for us to, start comparing ourselves, but also just for our own mental well-being and like for our nervous systems. It's not super healthy for us to be attached to screens super often. So I'm a huge advocate of being really intentional about how you use social media to make sure that you're staying in like an energetic balance with yourself and with your own mind. So just wanted to touch on that really quick.
And then before you move on, can you show us visually how you do that? Your fucking awesome shades.
True.
Come on, just put some on for 1 second.
True. I get some funny glare on these, so sometimes I don't wear them on lives, but I will today.
Okay.
This is not only a way for me to protect my eyeballs from a screen, but also for me to like really look authentic and cute and feel like my boss bitch self that I am. So you're right. I'm wearing them right now.
This is really just for me to feel good as I'm looking at myself through the screen.
And I can't wait for you to have them too and to like really feel that.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Continue. See your whole energy just like change. You're like, okay.
But yeah, to come back to, how do we decide what our boundaries are as far as what we want to be transparent about and how far we want to go? It really, I guess, comes down to asking yourself, like, what is the goal of me being on this platform? And with social media strategy, I work with transformation driven businesses. My main thing is I'm trying to help them find their authentic voice as a means to connect more deeply with their audience, because what's going on in my life is relatable to someone who has a lot of similar experiences going on. And that, just the similarities, the relatability is what makes me qualified to help that person. And same thing, vice versa. Like, but if we don't cue people into what's going on, into our experience, then how would they know that there would be a potential connection there? So it's good to get intentional about, what is my goal here on this platform? Is it to open up conversations about mental health? Is it to make people laugh? Is it to provide education? And then getting like more intention, like going a little bit deeper and being like, okay, I want to talk about mental health, but maybe specifically I want to talk about breath work like you do. And really like you looking at your own experience and deciding what's sacred and what what pieces of your heart that you can share that are, that are going to be super helpful for someone else listening. It's incredible, honestly. Like, you would never know who's watching your stories. You would never know that you're on the same path. You would never know that you are experiencing similar things until you give somebody a clue. And I've just found that so much. Yeah, I've just found that so much with, like, old friends reaching out of nowhere, and, I'll post something about, like, I don't know, the other day, a friend posted something about having, like, low iron in their blood. And, that's not necessarily something that we would every day talk about online, and it's up to them to disclose that information. But, I responded and I was like, oh my God, I went through the same thing last year. Like, what was and we, just establishing that connection and sharing that information just through that one clue of, like, this funny meme that they found about having low iron. And she, like, made a comment on it.
And that's something that really affects our life, like, a lot, like when you have something going on inside your body, which I would say pretty much everybody has one thing or another going on inside their body or vessel, the thing they're in at the time that they can't escape, like making peace with that and learning to navigate that is, like, something in itself. And I did something similar. I wrote a post last year just talking about, like, what I ate in the morning that helps with constipation, and I got so many messages because people were like, dude, for real, like, this thing, like, thank you for saying it, because but it was, like, not like a girl talk, like,
totally
this thing that I actually struggle with, like, on a daily basis. So
exactly.
And, like, I'm used to it, but yeah, it really helped, like, a bunch of people, and I was able to be like, oh, try this, and this, but
and absolutely, like, just those clues can open up a whole portal. But, like, the clue in itself, if it's a taboo subject, it's, when we make these subjects inaccessible to talk about publicly, it makes the problem worse. So, for example, like trauma, or your example of, like, constipation, it's really, like, when we're cluing in and we're speaking from a place of authenticity and being really transparent about our human experience with the intention of helping someone else, oh my gosh, it goes a long way. And you would never really know unless you try. So a lot of it, I suppose, is a bit of experimentation. And a lot of that experimentation goes on, at least in the social media world. Like, I probably disclose subtle hints about my life and what I do and what I'm into more in my stories, because, it's easy for someone to imagine themselves in a room with you and kind of just get, like, an idea of who they are. Like, I don't know, someone could easily judge me based on what's in the background of my room, or just, wearing disco balls. Like, there's all these subtle clues that add up to someone's idea of, why they would come to you, what you could relate about, and, what type of connection you can have there. So it's so fun, really, to experiment and see. And it's just, it opens up so much. And so I'm so grateful to find other people on this platform doing the same thing, and, like, really, like, breaking taboos, because at the core of it, like, we're all in this together. We're all going through the same shit. We just, if we're not talking about it, we're diminishing our ability to move through it. And so it's everyone's personal journey of deciding how much they want to disclose, but really, like, those are the cues that bring you close to, really, like, strong relationships. This year alone, I have made so many good friends on the internet. I can probably count more good friends that I haven't met yet this year than, like, good friends that I know in person, honestly. but it took the courage to open up and to really like give someone more of a glimpse into your heart and your mind and your soul. But it's just so beautiful because when you do that, you're also giving someone a chance to like really look at themselves. And, you know, we're all reflections of each other. So what's going on in your experience could be going on in my experience. So it's just important for us to like really clean that mirror and kind of just lay it out. And if you don't vibe with someone, great, then you figure it out right away. As opposed to just kind of tiptoeing above this, like on the surface with someone. I think it's just so much more important to just deep dive and see what happens.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
So I want to take it on a more personal level, and I want to ask you, because you're so passionate about this, what happened? You know, like
what happened? How did I get here?
Like what happened for you in your life to make you realize that how important this is? I don't know if it came from what somebody else said that really touched you, or a way that a barrier you climbed up and realized that it's different. Like, can you tell us a little bit about like why this matters so much to you? Yeah.
I mean, I've always been a pretty expressive person. Like in college, I was that weirdo that was wearing like bright pink shoes and like tie-dye leggings, and it was honestly just it was a cry of desperation to feel unique and to be unique and really like really own my role as an artist. I just couldn't find my like medium for a while. I couldn't figure out, because like my handwriting is total shit. You know, I can't draw, I can't paint, honestly, I can't do any of that, but I always like needed this expressive outlet. So, you know, it started with like ice skating and dressing up weird and like dancing, and those were all good and fine, but those were like kind of physical embodiments. And I felt like for a long time I was repressing my voice. One reason is because, you know, my parents have slightly different political views than I do, and that was super conflicting for a long time growing up. At the core of all of it, we have the same morals, which is so important. But I'd say the tipping point for me was last year, when the Black Lives, like George Floyd event happened and the Black Lives Matter movement really came online. I was, you know, I remember sitting upstairs and I was like, I can't stand to let this shit go on anymore. And I can't stand like repressing my voice just for the safety of, you know, not being ridiculed by other people. And I think that was the tipping point also, because I had started on, you know, my spiritual journey and getting really curious about how like our thoughts create our reality. And so kind of seeing both of those play out, I was like, okay, if I am the master of my own reality, it's so important for me to act on behalf of what I want, and not what other people want. And it just kind of, it was almost like floodgates opened. Like once that happened, you become so much more practiced at making really bold statements, and it just gets way easier. I think it also really helps having a community of other people that do the same, that are not afraid to speak their mind, and you know, you all cheer each other on. And if you start following and curating your feed to see more of those types of people, it just, you know, it not only inspires you to like open up a taboo subject, but it also is just, it's more about like, it becomes more about other people and not yourself. And like that was one of the realizations in having a business and wanting to give my skills, like give my skills over to healers and transformative business owners, was I had to come to the realization that, Emmy, this isn't about you. Your business isn't about you. It's about the people that you help. And so then it almost became this like duty for me to be open and expressive about what it is that I believe and what I want to see in the world. So I would just suggest for anyone that's watching, like, you got to start somewhere. And it's also really worth just looking at the pros and cons of, you know, what is it worth to me to not speak my truth about this subject matter? If it's a life or death situation, obviously that's super different. But, you know, if usually most times the pros are gonna outweigh the cons as far as you speaking your truth, because nothing feels better than really like letting the world know what's going on in your experience, and then having other people's, like, you connecting with other people on that level is just, it's so beautiful. Like, that's to me what the human experience is. It's about sharing. So yeah.
Cool. And so what, when you had this tipping point and you had this realization, okay, the floodgates open, do you have some really specific things that just shifted right away, like examples of ways that you started walking the path, things that you've shared? Or
I've definitely put a lot more boundaries in place as far as you know, who I give my energy to, because when like, not only with dating but with friendships, with business relationships, you know, once I really tuned into, you know, what is my authentic voice, what do I want to create in the world, how do I want to be, how do I want to show up, I started to be really intentional about who I surround myself with. And so I'd say my friend groups have dramatically changed. Again, a lot of them have just been online this year, which has been actually really amazing. And I've also just gained like such a deeper understanding of who I am and how I want to show up every day. And so that's really manifested into, you know, being super intentional about how I start my day and how I manage my energy, and you know, what boundaries I place not only on my relationships but like what I consume. So I say that I've really jumped on a health kick recently because, you know, when you think more long term about what it is, you know, what type of reality you want to create in the world, you start to realize how powerful like each interaction is in creating that reality. And so I look at myself last year, I had like absolutely no routine. I didn't even set an alarm. And just this year has just been such a deep journey in self-love, to respect that, you know, my authentic goals and my authentic desires and what I want in the world. So I'd say relationships, like my body loves me. I love myself. I've stopped searching for men. I've been single for 5 years, and a lot of, like, there were spouts of years where I was just searching for that external validation of love and support. And really this year, like, being able to really love myself has replaced so much of that. And I feel like I have such better control over my mind now because I have an understanding of what I want and where I want to be and how I'm going to get there.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up too, because I experienced something like that recently. Because so I recently learned about like sexual addiction and like that's a thing. And I'm in a relationship that's like, you know, we're just over 2 years. And it was interesting because a few months ago we decided to, again, we've done it times, and honestly, like that, like I felt like my energy was more clean, and because I'm around somebody all the time, and our relationship is amazing now because we're not crumbling all over each other, but also as a like focus on my business more and like my self-love me, because I was just able to like have those boundaries, separation, where normally I would just like give all of that away. And really
Totally.
thought about independence. He's always independent anyway, but for me it was so good. And we're like, yeah, I love myself so much more now. Just that cultivating that relationship with yourself. Um, yeah, that really resonated because I definitely experienced something similar even within a relationship, you know, like just because you got the cat in the you've got the cat in the bag, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It's so important to have that relationship with yourself because it just spills out into everything you do.
Absolutely.
And so you, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm a huge advocate for keeping independence in relationships. I was in a long distance relationship for 3 years, and it was honestly one of the most beautiful things because we could both be super respectful of our time and our space, but like really share the best parts of ourselves from a distance. Like, and I think even if you're not physically together, I think it's so important to always keep tabs of, you know, am I still, even though I have this person that I love in my life and I want to do everything for them, and am I still respecting my individual needs? Yeah, huge advocate of that.
Just taking some notes here.
Ooh, girl.
This is so inspiring for me because obviously like I'm your client, you know, so it's like really nice to be on the receiving end and be like, oh, I loved listening to her talk a little bit. Like,
Stop it. This is a mutual thing. I feel like just the beginning of our relationship has, like, the words of wisdom that you've given me about my creative business is like worth its weight in gold. And I think that's another one of these beautiful things about opening up to each other is like value exchange can be free, but so priceless. And so just sharing, you know, our experiences and tips and things that got us through, you know, harsh times is so important. So
thank you
so much for your free mentorship. I mean, geez,
yeah,
my goals have already.
Perfect. That's all that matters, really. It's so funny because I've had an interesting shift with that lately too, because so I do like have mentorship options behind the scenes. I haven't really talked about them too much because the like kind of healing work that I do is really organic. But over the last like I guess 3.5 years of like that world, it's like, what do you give away for free and like what do you tag on? And this past year, I'm caring about all of it. Right? If I share something with somebody, I'm gonna do it, you know, because like I think that it all kind of comes back around anyway. And
does.
And lately, especially, like I've been sharing that breathwork practice that I shared with you. I mean, I got it for free, and I mean, I definitely paid for my breathwork training, but like the practice I got and it's really changed my life and shared it with other people, and yeah, it's been really cool. I have a couple questions completely off what we've been. So one of them is like, Dub Kitty, tell me your name, because I used to be such a dubstep junkie, like to the point where the side of my head, like it's still growing back.
It does have to do with dubstep.
Yeah.
So that's funny. I've always loved cats. Growing up, I also just replaced the word now with meow. And so I used to, oh hey cutie.
Hey, girl.
So cute.
I know.
Yeah, I love cats because, and I identify with cats because they're super independent. They do what they want. They don't really care what other people do. And they're just like true to themselves. Like their self-care is really important. And I, you know, not only had cats growing up, but then when I got to college and I was going through my super heavy dubstep phase, That's where, like, honestly, I think college for me was, and probably a lot of people can relate, college was a time where, you know, you're stepping into new territory, and you kind of have to make more decisions about who you are and what you want. And that was just a massively, like, expressive time for me. So like I said, I'd wear like rainbow tights and like pink shoes, and like, and I was super into dubstep, and I was working for Cervantes Masterpiece Ballroom, which is this, like, used to be super underground, super dirty, like dirty in a good way, underground dubstep related. They did lots of shows, but dubstep was absolutely booming between 2009 and 2013 in Denver. And I was street teaming for them, and I was obsessed with dubstep, like so obsessed. I would go to like 3 shows a week because, you know, it was free for me because I was working for that venue. And then one of my friends started a blog on WordPress where we'd just post anonymous music, and I became known, like, it just came to me. I was like, oh, I'm Dub Kitty because I'm the one who's going to post all the dubstep. So that started there. And then, you know, eventually that just became a part of my identity. I honestly have friends that don't know my real name. They just call me Dub Kitty. Then I owned 2 cats. And so that took Dub Kitty to a whole nother level, the Double Kitty.
Yeah.
And just ever since then, you know, I found this cat suit in Chile in a thrift store about 5 years ago, and it just all came together. Recently I also did this, last year I did this animal totem visualization where you're like meeting your spirit animal, and no surprise, it was a leopard. So honestly, I'm running with it. I really like the way this makes me feel. It feels like my authentic self. It's comfy. I can, like, you know, do weird shit with my tail, and it's just become this vehicle for me to, like, not only feel like myself, but also stand out on the internet in hopes of helping other people, you know, like inspiring other people to do the same, to just like wear and do whatever you want.
In the comments, hi, my name is Rainbow Serpent. I love it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I met him at Rainbow Serpent. He's a legend. Hi.
I love what you're talking about this, because so when dubstep was really popular, this is like a total segue into a different conversation. We're gonna go with it because I like colors and stuff. So when dubstep was really popular, I was working at a bar, and so I've been almost years sober now. So my personality has like really shifted, and it's been really hard for me. This is like full share now that you've like opened this door. I'm like, it's been really hard for me to like stay connected with like the weirdness, because you're not like drinking and doing drugs all the time, and you're not like, bleh, you know, it's you know, that intensity is like a part of who you are. It's like interesting. It's been such an interesting transition, although I'm more connected with like my essence, but there's definitely, so when I was working at a bar, like I'd wear tutus to work. I like shaved my head, you know, like it was just like full glam makeup, own makeup anymore. I'm thinking about buying it again, just an expressive piece of it. Yeah, and so it really resonates with me when, like, because I love like glitter and sparkles and crazy stuff, but I also love minimalism and all the calm things, because I'm so like, my nervous system's like this all the time. So it's like,
and you can be all those things. Just choose your moments and whatever feels right for you.
Yeah. Do you think this is the right moment?
For what? For you to just put some dubstep on and shake?
I mean, I kind of like have a surprise for you actually, so it's really funny that we have this conversation.
Amazing.
Are you ready?
I don't know. Am I?
I mean, are you?
I don't know. Yes. Yes! That is
I found
so
it
good.
I was like, what is this? Like,
I am obsessed.
Oh,
I'm obsessed.
I've never actually worn it. I bought it, but I put one for you.
I love that so much. I can't even tell you. And how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel really good right now. I feel kind of like sexy.
Hell yeah, girl, because you are. But look, like you could be both of those things. Like you were just your chill black dress Kayla, and then boom, like
Boom.
whole another level. And I think it's so important for us to, all of us here, to really like embrace the multidimensional beings that we are. Because when we try and fit ourselves into like one subject or one box or one role, that's when shit gets boring. Honestly,
Yeah.
like we're not meant to just be one thing. We're not meant to, like, honestly, it does our body and our mind pretty terribly if we're just running the same things over and over again. It's and like you can be a professional and wear a cat suit. You can be, you can like love, you know, weird unicorn porn and like be a total like CEO of a big company, you know, like I don't know, unicorn porn, that I don't know where that came from, but
I mean,
and that's why your authentic voice is so important, because it gives more people like more clues into why they would love you or why they would connect with you. And it's just their door openers, you know. It's like wearing a sassy t-shirt. It's like you give someone something to talk about. And today, like with the separation of screens and, you know, these false realities that we're projecting on social media, it's just so helpful to open up a conversation about something that's really, you know, not normal or quirky or weird, because you never really know like what someone's going through or what they love. And it's just such a means to develop super deep relationships.
yeah. And so how do you like to have that show up on your page? Like I know you use humor a lot and you like really loud stuff a lot, but so yeah, let us know like how when you're obviously intentionally cultivating like the things like the way that you are in the world is a work of art. You know, your art obviously, like when you were talking before about like, yeah, mine's dance, you know, kind of more of an embodiment practice. Yeah, but that is the art, you know, like it's
Yeah.
not just my piece that has value. And I really actually hate that society only puts value in the final piece, because for me, like the process is really, and I find like my malas, I love beautiful, but what makes them unique and different is the way in which them, because there's a lot of like I put my whole heart and soul into the creation. And with you again, it's that energy of like spinning around, you know, like and who you are in life, not just this beautiful like thing that's in a box. It's everything that like smashing outside the box, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think it's really, you know, if you have intentions to bring someone along your journey and not necessarily help them, because that just sounds like fixing, which I'm against, but if you are able to sort of get beside yourself, remember that, you know, it's not like your presence online is less about you and it's more about the human experience and other people. Just treating it as like a human documentary, like a documentary through your life, because it's so important for us to also, or like it's so easy for us to look at someone else who's so far ahead of us and, you know, just disregard the idea that we could ever get there, because you don't know how to get there. They're like it's like when somebody doesn't show you the inner workings of how they're getting somewhere, then it makes it inaccessible for you in your mind. Like it's so easy for us to put someone on a pedestal who's like really far ahead of you if they're only showing you the final product.
yeah.
I think that's one thing that's happening really predominantly in the entrepreneurial world is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people aren't showing they're not showing the dark side of this journey. They're not showing like the loneliness or the long hours. Like this image of a digital nomad working on their computer on a beach, like that doesn't actually physically work.
No, I live
Like,
in tons of them. I know what their lives are like, you know, like
yeah, but they like create this picture of like, oh, I sit on the beach in my bathing suit on my computer. It's like, dude, that's too hot. And also you don't have a power source, and like, you
you don't
know,
stand in salt water ruins your electronics. There's so much salt water in the air.
yeah,
The one thing, you know, just to smash that, just from somebody who's living in Bali.
yeah.
Um,
And I lived there too, and yeah.
yeah, and the one thing, because I've had comments like, "Oh, easy to say from Bali. Oh, life
Yeah.
must be great in Bali," and I'm like, my life's the same as yours. I've been here for 3.5 years. Like, yeah, it's magical,
Yeah.
but it's the same magic as anywhere else settled in for a really long time. But at the same point, the number one thing people have in common in Bali is they spend a lot of time in their room, a lot
Mm-hmm.
in their room, and a lot of them are built in Bali. And you have like this beautiful villa, which I'm moving out of it soon, but like, you know, just because of COVID pricing. But for the 3 years, like, able to afford that villa that people rent to make photo shoots on.
Yeah.
The rooms that you're in, like, they don't really believe in windows here. It's dark, on, so that you're not
Yeah.
can actually think and like the digital nomad. You know what I mean? It's like, and then
Yeah.
at cafes and money for food, and like, some of them are productive, but like, how productive are you actually being? It's just like workaholism. You know?
Yeah.
I have to have the open so that I feel like I'm doing stuff, you know, and it's like
Yeah.
the same as everything else. But
Yeah.
yeah, just a
Yeah.
smack. Yeah, like
Totally.
we,
Yeah, and it's just like, it's hard too because when I created that idea of what working for myself was in my mind based off of what I saw on the internet, um, it it kind of isolated me. It isolated me in the sense that, as soon as, you know, I got into my journey and I started like chaining myself to screens and falling down these rabbit holes of like feeling not so, yeah, literally I've been chained to screens. It's not ideal. But I really isolated myself for a long time, like pushing so hard and creating this idea that like, I'm alone in this. And it took me a long time to finally like connect with other entrepreneurs in order to understand that, actually workaholism is super, super prevalent in the entrepreneurial world.
yeah,
And as much as you would like to think that you being your own boss means you're going to go sit on the beach a lot more, it's like, that's not necessarily the case.
yeah,
And so it's so important for people to share the ups and downs of a journey to help those people not only start from a place of, where they know what they're getting into, but also to, yeah, like open up conversations and create communities. Like last year, I finally reached out and met, like intentionally went out and found other entrepreneurs that are going through the same thing. And oh my God, it's just so helpful to know that people are that are experiencing the same lows and the same highs, and to like help each other through that has just been my like changing my world. It's honestly changed my world.
yeah. And so, can you speak to, if you were going to bullet point list the lows that people experience? What are? Can you just talk about like what are the like that you
You just cut out.
okay?
Cut out.
Can you like bullet point list and give examples of what are the issues people face when they're diving into the world of being a digital online person, whether they're nomadic or not, but you spoke to loneliness, spoke to like a lot of feeling. So can you just give like, well, you experienced this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like in a general sense, it's the idea that it's not just a linear exponential curve. It's the understanding that there are always going to be like ups and downs throughout your journey. Whether it's, you know, you have a massive launch and it goes amazing, and then you've got this like low period where no one's really responding to anything. And like it's so important for us to have an understanding that like this is a journey, and we don't ever get to a point where, you know, unless you like sell your business or fully automate it and take yourself out of the picture, which isn't really the case for personal brands like transformation driven businesses and mentors and artists and things like that. But like, yeah, like really having an understanding of that's, you know, when you're signing up for that, you're signing up for responsibility of your energy and like maintaining your energy, and knowing that, you know, having a strong foundation of like having a strong foundation internally is what's going to get you through it. And so, you know, when you reach those spurts of loneliness, having a community has been so helpful. Like whether you're in a mastermind or you're in business groups, or even just like referral programs, because you're being connected with other people that are going through the same experience. Like so helpful to combat loneliness with community. I'd say what are another set of things? Yeah, it's really like there's always going to be, you know, if you're at the spotlight of your business, there's always going to be points where you confront your limitations head on, and things that you wouldn't even necessarily know were there. Like for me, a lot of it was self-worth. I thought that I had a really high standard and understanding of how worthy I was, until all of a sudden I had to decide what I was charging for my services. And I couldn't look to anyone else for that answer. I couldn't, you know, I could get an understanding of what people were charging in my same market, but really, you know, when we are masters of our own reality and we create numbers based on our perceptions of our worth, if you have low self-worth, like you are going to put yourself into a really destructive cycle. I remember I used to see memes all the time that were like, you are enough, blah, 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 blah. And I used to think they were so lame. I was like, I don't believe that about myself. And then like this past year, when I had to really, you know, when I was undercharging for what I was doing, when I was overworking for clients, when I had no boundaries with other people about what I would do for them, it was not good. Like I went down a huge, you know, like I went through burnout because I realized that internally, like I hadn't really set my compass as far as my worth goes. Yeah. And so, you know, now I see those memes like you are enough, and I'm like, yes, like affirmation the shit out of it. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Like, and really like holding faith and respect for yourself through the process, knowing that, you know, just because somebody won't really respect your services enough to pay what you think you're worth, but like, yeah, just, you know, holding integrity with what you do. It's hard, like a lot harder said than done, but I think self-worth is like a huge one when all of a sudden you are you're in the position of deciding how you run your life and your business and how you use your time.
Yeah.
I'd say perfectionism is another huge one.
I'm just going to hop onto my Wi-Fi because I think my data.
is another huge thing that a lot of us battle when all of a sudden, you know, we like, you're the face of your brand. All of a sudden it's like, oh shit, like I'm putting myself on a stage and I'm declaring to the world what it is that I do. I better make it fucking perfect.
Yeah.
But really, like, people they'll love you for your humanness. They'll love you for, you know, not being perfect, because perfect isn't relatable. And so it's really important also throughout this journey to just not be so fucking harsh on ourselves.
Yeah.
And just like know that that typo that maybe comes out on your Instagram like might make somebody love you even more.
Mm.
So perfectionism is a huge one that I think a lot of entrepreneurs experience. So just doing things to do it, just go for it. Just like if something's scary, it means that it has a lot of potential for something good to happen from it. Like if there's fear that's blocking you, it's because that action is probably going to be really expansive for you. So one of my mantras this year is just taking really bold, imperfect action. Because again, it gets easier and it really helps people connect on a deeper level.
Okay. And so, tell me about your imperfect, bold actions you've taken and how they went.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of them. I haven't spoken much live on Instagram. I'm actually doing another, in the spirit of bold and perfect action, I'm doing a masterclass today on Facebook Live, which will be my first time ever going live on Facebook. And I just decided yesterday, and I was like, you know what? It's important for me to put myself out there knowing that it's going to get easier and that that people are going to love me for my humanness. What's some other bold and perfect action?
Well, I just want to like honor that, because for me, like I remember last year or the year before something, I like hated Instagram stories. I just didn't, I was like, why would anybody want to, like, oh, I feel like such a narcissist or like whatever.
Yeah.
And now, like, I actually really enjoy them because it, you know, it kind of creates more connection. People respond and like kind of do your thing or whatever. Whereas a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, like, oh, such a narcissist. Like, why would I want to put my face on the thing? Or I'd only store things. And just honoring the fact that like this is outside of your comfort zone, because like and this was outside of my comfort zone, and like it goes back to that whole like it's not, you know, like these conversations is it's not about me, you know, it's about really like celebrating who you are and bringing you to the community, which then helps everybody feel more connected because of the magic that you bring into this. So I mean, I know for me, I've personally been experiencing this. Oh, the rain's coming. I have to change locations.
Classic fall.
I've been really enjoying this conversation, and so I'm excited that yesterday you decided to do something, and you're like, yeah, it's a masterclass.
Yep, doing it.
Because doing it. So just wanted to pause and give you the praise for that, because it's like so fresh, so new, and so current. So
yeah, and also, you know, when you make the decision and you're super and you have people that are going to hold you accountable, like, you know, coming on Instagram and just being like, yep, I'm going to do a master class. It's like we get closer to our goals when we don't put those actions that are going to get us there out of reach. So by doing the things that are scary now, it really like shrinks the timeline that's associated with where we want to go.
Yeah.
And all just trusting that it's a part of the process, and that, you know, I'm safe to be seen, and it just gets easier.
Yeah.
So I think anyone, no matter what, like taking action, bold action on what they want, like, yeah, you might be nervous, you might be sweating, it might be so uncomfortable, but it's the growth that comes from all of those individual actions is really what transforms your life.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I super resonate with it because of some of the charity work that I do behind the scenes with giving people jobs here in Indonesia. Like, I don't speak, like, I speak Indonesian enough to like laugh and, you know, get along with them and like get the point across and whatever. But there's also conversations that happen in front of me where I don't know what they're saying. And, you know, I go into these places and I started giving money and helping in a way that's like, I don't really know how this is going to work out. And even now still, like, I don't really know how it's going to work out. And I never, because I recently went to the village and did like a batch of malas like last month, I honestly, like, it was so heartwarming and so amazing, but I have never experienced such vulnerability as doing that, because here I am, some white girl trying to save the world in some village and like all that, and just learning, like, because it's just a completely different, you know, when people are really poor, the mentality of like lying is different, you know, telling you what things cost and all that kind of stuff. And it's been a huge journey. And so when I think of bold action, like you were saying, like, to me, my vision of like really wanting to like make an impact on things that are going to change people's lives in a world where there's so many people that are doing amazing foundations and really cool things that are making huge differences. And here's little me, you know, just trying to plot along some little path that, like, I don't know how much it helps or whatever. I don't know if sending these kids to school is going to help change their life or whatever, but it's like just putting the foot forward and doing it. And like, yeah, I think I just wanted to share that because I literally have never felt so vulnerable as that. And that to me is like a bold action. And so when people are putting things out there, not knowing if it's going to work out, it's like so uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And you just have to like come back to trust and like, okay, well, if it doesn't work out, at least I'm doing my best and I didn't hesitate, you know, at least I tried. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And coming back to, you know, weighing the pros and cons as far as what is it worth for me to take this bold and perfect action, and what would it mean if I stay small and don't do the uncomfortable things? And again, like coming back to that faith that even if, you know, you don't see tangible results right away, just you taking the action to doing something super uncomfortable is what's gonna make it easier to do in every area of your life moving forward. So I'd say, like, for me personally, that started out with sports when I was growing up, like constantly learning new sports and trying new things and just being super humble in the process, knowing that, like, okay, the more I train my body to move in this sort of way, like the easier it's going to be for that to, like, for me to try something else new. And so, like, a lot of the reason that I moved halfway across the world was like, I just wanted to be out of my comfort zone. I was just so ready for growth and expansion, and home just wasn't the place for that at the moment. And so my mission in the last few years has, as a means to really like change my life and do, you know, become the highest version of myself, is just to try a bunch of things that are really scary. Like, I started surfing, you know, at 26 years old, and had no idea what I was doing. Like, I'd kind of skateboard and snowboard, but like the ocean is a whole dimension. So yeah, just like, it's so helpful for all of us to do scary things, just knowing that it's creating a deeper experience. It's you know, anytime you try something new, it's super helpful for the rest of your life.
Totally. And I love, like, you know, what you're talking about with surfing, because yeah, like how do you deal with fear? You know what I mean? It's like a real training on literally the visceral experience of like fear and being overpowered by a force greater than yourself. And you know,
Yeah.
it does like transfer over into like your business or wherever, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
I feel that.
Who we are in business is no different than who we are in normal life. If you're practicing taking bold action in, you know, your personal life, that is going to empower you in your, you know, in business. And so I've, you know, that was a huge realization that I had last year, was like, how you do one thing is how you do most things. And so, and those aren't my words, actually. Those are from one of my coaches, Katie Hitchcock, who's an absolute legend.
Okay.
But yeah, stepping into the understanding that, you know, when the doors are closed, like what is what blocks me from magnetizing the people who want to work with me into my life. Like, and that's one thing that I think we always have to be aware of also in social media land, where, you know, we could be doing all of the things to promote our work, but really, like, people buy and respond to a feeling, right? So if you are embodying this like beautiful, invitational, welcoming, you know, magnetic energy, people are going to respond to that. But if you're, you know, this is kind of goes in line with the reel that I did recently about like, what type of coach do you want to be with? Do you want to be with the fancy one, or do you want to be with the one that's like pretty chill and like relaxed and like lets you come to them? Yeah, so it's important for us as business owners, but also just as regular human beings, to know that like our everyday actions and our everyday thoughts and our everyday, you know, how we talk to ourselves and how we take care of our body, like it all relates. It's all interconnected, and it's all contributing to this human experience that we're having. So yeah, be intentional.
I love that. Be intentional, moral of the story. And it's funny that like, yeah, for me, like what I found on you was just how intentional you really are, you know, and I really love that and admire that. And there's definitely a realness in you that I feel. And that's what makes me feel safe, is like, I don't have to be anything around you, you know? And I think that is essentially your message for this whole thing, like on social media, is like, just be who you are. And like, the more we all do that, then the better it is. So
absolutely. Like, let's break the taboos. Let's talk about uncomfortable shit. Let's do uncomfortable shit, because, you know, we're not here to play small. And if your role in this world is to heal and help other people, this is no longer, it's not about you. It's about getting out of your own way in order to help the people that love like the multidimensional human being that you are. So yeah, working on ourselves is so important in every action and everything we do. And so I just want to share that and encourage everyone to be on the same journey, because like when you are living your truth, it just feels so good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. And I think that's a good note to end on. So
yep, fair enough.
Yeah, just feels so good. Cool. Thank you so much for the chat today. Like I'm really excited for people to tune in later as well and just catch the whole thing. And there's so many good nuggets in there. And I just love the permission that you give people to just be themselves and be shiny, you know, like I love that. And even just like this little outfit, it's like, I literally was just like laying in bed last night and I was like, oh, I should wear that. And like, it was funny because it just like naturally like wove in, you know, like, so PS, like to people who are watching, you had no idea.
Yeah. So
And
good.
and it's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
just really cool because I really appreciate the glitter that you bring out of me personally, and it's been nice just to share you with the community. I hate the feedback, sorry guys. But it's been really nice just to share you with the community, and I hope for everybody that's watching, just reach out personally if you guys want to know what she's up to. If you want to get some of her amazing glasses, she ships worldwide. I'm super excited to get mine, and yeah, just interested for people to put in the comments below like what they really got out of this, you know, what's the one takeaway. So yeah, thanks for your time, and have fun with your master class, and I'm sure we'll connect on the DMs shortly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, not only for this chat, but just for being a facilitator of these super important dialogues, because, you know, again, like, it's really important for all of us to share our human experience as a means to all grow together. So you being a lighthouse in that regard is like, just, yeah, it's life-changing. So thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to connecting on multi-dimensional levels later.
Amazing. Thanks, Betty.
Thanks, babe.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.